Hello and welcome to another 1v1 for the Ballistas tournament for Forest Nothing. Today we have Legion in the blue and Always in the red. Always has picked Teutons, Legion has picked Lithuanians. Teutons would be my choice here over Lithuanians. I know Lithuanians have the food bonus, but if you play it correctly, you can have no idling of your town center if you collect the wood and build your farms correctly, which is what Always has done. So he might have minimal seconds of idle time, but not much. Alright, so let's speed this up a bit. So each player is going to get their 6 to 9 farms. They're going to go for 15 to 20 population. Looks like Always is choosing to go up with 16. And Legion's choosing to go up with 18. So that's going to give Always the first go at the market. Sell some wood, get some gold, bought some food, and 21 villagers up to Castle Age for Always. Legion's choosing to produce a lot more villagers. He researched double bit and wheelbarrow, so he was unable to just go straight to Castle Age. Once you hit Castle Age, you should expect to see 2 to 3 town centers being built. A total of 2 to 3 town centers, not 2 to 3 extra. Although sometimes, some civilizations you're able to build 3 extra town centers. So this is where they're going to separate the score a little bit, as Always got to Castle Age first. He's got 3 town centers up. Always is still on 1. So you're going to see Always. He's going to be producing more villagers, and he's going to be able to get ahead here. If you look at the villager count at the bottom, Always has 20 more population than Legion. So in Castle Age, you're looking to boom constant production of villagers while you're aiming to get to near 1,000 food, so you can research Imperial Age, and you're going to need around 12 to 14,000 wood, so you can sell wood for enough gold to get to Imperial Age and research Onager. which always is very close to. There you go. You need 1,500 gold to get Imperial Age and Onager. So now he just needs a couple more food. And that monastery. And once he gets that, he's going to click up to Imperial Age, delete the monastery. 66 villagers to Legion's 55. The Legion has the food. And now he's got the gold to go up. Oh, he's choosing to build a castle. Interesting. So this early, spending enough gold to buy a castle is... I don't know if it's going to be worth it, but we'll see how this plays out. That's a lot of gold invested in that castle. Gold he could have used for researches, for building his military, and now he's 45 gold short of being able to research Imperial Age. So he's got to put up another market so he can get the money for Imp. Meanwhile, always has 2 onagers out. 3. Looks like he's expanding to be able to build houses. So here's the size difference for their bases. It is a pretty big size difference. Legion's put up outposts because he's worried that always is just going to rush in and kill him. Oh, and here's another problem with building a castle. If you build the castle, you have less room. You can't really build a siege workshop right away. So yes, he's an Imperial Age, but he doesn't have a siege workshop. He doesn't have onagers out. So he's unable to expand like Always is doing. Always is expanding, producing. He now has a 50 villager lead because he has a bigger base. Legion is just producing military, hoping that it'll protect him whenever Always gets to him. He's playing very defensive. But Teutons have a bonus for their barracks and stable units. And there's no relics on Forest Nothing, so the stable units aren't really going to be doing much. Lightus are good, but versus Mass Halberdier, they don't do much. Always has researched Siege Onager, getting coinage, hoardings. That's conscription, sorry. Looks like all he needs now is, oh, there it is, Siege Engineers from the University. He has fully upgraded his onagers. He's got a trebuchet out, so he can, it's like a mobile outpost. It's just interesting to see how he still doesn't have any onagers. He's playing completely defensively. But in my opinion, the best way to build a defense would be to build some onagers, get out here, and build a bunch of production buildings. That way you have a chance of fighting them off. With only 3 production buildings in a castle, I don't think you stand a whole lot of a chance. Because Always is going to be able to build production buildings along the way. So Always is going to have a lot more production buildings than Legion will. And if he gets a couple trebs out, snipes the production buildings that Legion has, Legion's going to have no chance of pushing back because he's just not going to have the production buildings. Took him 36 minutes to get those onagers out. You should have those onagers out basically as soon as you get to the Imperial Age. He's pop capped at 175. Here we are. And we're going to slow back down. The fighting's about to start. So, fully upgraded Halberdiers and Elite Teutonic Knights. In come the Hussars from Legion. In come some Paladins and some Lightus. So look at the resources. Banked always has 9,000 food. Legion has none. Legion does have wood to sell. Always does not. Because Always has food banked up, he can just go ahead and build more production buildings and get a lot more halberdiers out on the field. And because Legion is relying mostly on horse cavalry units, the massive halberdiers that Always is going to be putting out on the field is going to put a major dent in anything that Legion's going to be trying to do. At this point, we're basically going to be seeing a slow crawling push into Legion's base. Always is just going to keep producing more and more halberdiers. Legion doesn't have the food to produce a lot more cavalry. He only has 16 farms to, I think it's about 50? 67. That's a little high for a 50 population game. But you're not going to run out of food with 67 farms on turbo. So the only chance Legion would have at this point is if he was able to get like 30, 40 paladins into the eco over here, destroy all those farms, run Always out of food, kill his villagers. But he's fighting the halberdiers with his paladins, and that's never gonna. It's not a good idea. So at this point, he's basically out of food. He does have a little bit of wood he can sell for gold, but this is over. And if you call all your villagers in, you're not going to get resources. No extra resources means no military units. No production buildings means no military units. He's queued up the last 15 hussars that he can. And looks like he's trying to run them through a last gasp, if you will. Oh, nope, just a gather point out in the middle of the halberdiers. Good game's called. Thus ends game 1 of Legion vs. Always. So this is the 7 versus the 10 seed. Legion is seed 10, Always is seed 7. If you look at the kill death, Always lost 160 units. Legion killed 94. So Always killed almost more of his units than Legion did. Always produced 2.5 times the food and 50,000 more wood. Because of that, he was able to sell and get more gold. Four-minute difference in the Imperial time, and a lot of that had to do with that castle. If you don't build a castle, if you build the siege workshop in the monastery, then you have a much faster, easier time because you don't need that extra gold for the castle. Alright, let's go to game 2. Interesting. Okay. So game 2 was supposed to be home map for whoever lost game 1. We were not supposed to see a replay of this map. It was supposed to be a 7x7, 9x9, or like a no space start. We're just going to leave this on fast the whole way through because they weren't supposed to play this map. Looks like Always was the host this time. So let's talk about their civilizations real quick. Huns versus Saracens. Saracens are, in my opinion, the better civilization because they have a full complement of siege. Huns are highly maneuverable, but this is a closed map. Fortunately, the Saracens only get I'm just reading their in-game chat. The Saracens only get pikemen, so he can't do the same type of halberdier spam that he did. Well, he can, it just won't be as strong because pikemen aren't as strong as halberdiers. But Saracens do get Mamelukes, which are very strong, very, very strong versus whatever cavalry units that Legion might try to produce. So a Hun boom, because they don't require houses, you could easily put up like 8 town centers once you have the food production for them, and you just boom right up, get a ton of resources, while Saracens still have the requirement of the houses. Now, at 250 population, it's not going to require that many houses. Always knows that Legion is Huns, so he doesn't have to worry about being super quick. So he's just going to try to build some town centers. Ooh, the Saracen market was super strong there. He has 3,000 gold. He has everything that he needs to get to the Imperial Age. Where Always is still on, or Legion is still on 3 town centers. Always has 4 town centers. So in a map like this, the Hun player should have more population. If you don't require houses, you should have more population. So Always is opening basically exactly the same as last game. He's cutting room for his houses. Legion should have more than 3 town centers. And he's very late to imp. Once again, he's building a castle. I mean, he already has more population than the last game. He has more production buildings. So, chances are there's going to be more of a fight here. But we need to see what Always is going for. If he goes Mameluke's Siege Onager, then there's nothing that the Huns can do versus Mamelukes and Siege Onager. Mamelukes will kill the cavalry. Siege Onager will kill cavalry archers. Looks like Legion is overtaken for the villager lead. Looks like Always is trying to keep some space for his army. Legion is pop capped, and he's just waiting. So once again, he only has 20 some farms. Here we go, he's building more. You need a lot of farms as Huns, because you're going to be spamming and losing a lot of cavalry. Cavalry archers are good if you can keep them behind a constant spam of hussars or paladins. He knows what Huns are going to go for, so he's prepping. Looks like he's prepping heavy camel. Look at the queue up here, though. Look at the units queued up for Legion. Saracen market bonus. He's building a 4th castle. Looks like we are going to see some Mamelukes. And here's Fog of War. He can see that always is coming for him. But what's he going to do about it? He can't go after him because he doesn't get onager. Alright, this is looking to be a pretty crazy fight, so we're going to put it back to normal. He's got his full upgrades on his siege onager, full upgrades on the paladins and the cav archers, and elite skirm, because he knows there's going to be cav archers. My guess is he's seen the cav archers. And then Mamelukes, which will destroy those paladins. He's got 10,000 gold banked up because he has the Saracen market bonus. I would put some other units in front so you don't lose all your siege onagers at one time. Oh, Legion, no. No. Send your paladins first. All of his cav archers down. And that's how fast Mamelukes and siege onagers destroy paladins. So we're back on normal speed in case you think I'm speeding this up. I'm not. Always has a decent amount of resources in the bank. And let's see what Legion has. Legion has food. He has wood, but he has no more gold. When you're out of gold, you have to spam hussars. Hussars are trash versus Mamelukes. Always is now out of gold, but he can sell some wood, which is what he's doing. Did Legion prep any barracks? No, he didn't. So now that you see camels coming out, you could switch to halberdier. Halberdier would be a strong play versus camels. It's not very good versus Mamelukes, but it's great versus camels. Just keep wasting his gold. If you have 37 idle villagers, you may as well just delete them and flood the field with military. Especially at a 250 population game, you don't have a ton of population to begin with. And now that Always has opened a very wide field, you can always just send a bunch of your hussars through. Personally, I don't like when people send their military through when they're fighting. It's kind of like to me it seems like a desperation move. Like you're unable to win the military fight, so you have to try to kill their eco first. Legion has more production buildings. He's got 20 more farms than last game, so he should be able to keep up the spam for a little while longer. He should take those 27 idle villagers and make more farms, or just delete them. So because Huns can't be housed, the key to beating Huns would be to destroy all their production buildings. Now when you have this many production buildings, it's very hard to destroy them all. But with pikemen, camel, mamelukes, there's just not much of a chance that, unless the Huns player is just going and destroying the eco, I don't see how he can beat the Saracen player in a straight up fight like this. Saracens have all the counters to what the Hun player is trying to make. Legion is down to 180, 190 population. Always is capped at 240, 250. Always is getting in on the farms. Ring the town bell. You're not going to have any more food production. No more food means no more spam. No more spam means good game. Huns is a pretty decent pick, but Saracens has all the counters. Also, if they had played a different map, 7x7, or one of the no space starts, Huns would have been a much stronger pick, because always would have had to be dealing with no space at the start. Legion calls good game. And that's it. Always moves on to round 2. Just waiting for the actual resignation. Now we're just going to speed that up. Okay, let's look at the stats. Yeah, that's the problem with Huns. He only killed 200 units and lost 1,100. When you're fighting camels, mamelukes, and pikemen with cavalry, it's never going to end well. Unless you can outmaneuver them and hit their eco and run them out of resources. He still had less food collected. He did have more wood collected. But because of the Saracen market bonus, always had more gold. That imp time is pretty bad. Although with Huns, normally if you're doing a Hun boom, you are late to imp. But he did it with 3 town centers. I would have recommended going to 5 at least. Always had more castles. Alright, that was a pretty good fight. And always moves on to round 2.